All right, let's get right into this. But I need you to forget everything you think you know from science fiction. This isn't about spaceships or cool aliens. I want you to treat this as a survival briefing. We're about to deconstruct one of the most chilling and frankly logical explanations for why the universe seems so empty. An explanation that, if it's true, means our entire existence has been one giant, cosmic, and maybe fatal mistake.
You know, it all boils down to a really simple question that the physicist Enrico Fermi asked way back in 1950. You look up at the sky, right? There are hundreds of billions of stars in our galaxy alone, and the universe has been around for billions of years. So statistically, it should be absolutely teeming with advanced civilizations. We should be hearing signals, seeing massive structures, something. But when we actually listen, all we get is silence. A deep, profound, cosmic silence. And that's the Fermi paradox. It is one of the most unsettling questions in all of science.
And here it is, one of the most terrifying answers to that question, the dark forest hypothesis. The idea here is that the silence isn't because the universe is empty, no. It's because the universe is full of civilizations that are smart enough to keep their mouths shut. This quote you're seeing, it isn't just a dramatic line from a book. It's the brutal core logic of a survival strategy played out on a galactic scale.
Now, to really get why this isn't just paranoia, you have to understand the rules of this, well, let's call it a new, ruthless field: cosmic sociology. And this has absolutely nothing to do with culture or morality or wanting to be friends. It's about the cold, hard physics of survival when you're separated by the unbelievable emptiness of interstellar space.
So here's the crucial point. Cosmic sociology just strips away everything we consider culture. I mean, over those vast distances and timescales, you can't possibly predict an alien race's politics or their sense of morality. But you can predict two things with almost total certainty because they're baked into the laws of physics and biology: the drive to survive and the need for resources to do it. And it's all built on these two basic laws. First, everybody wants to live. That's a given, right? Second, civilizations have to grow, they have to expand, but the amount of stuff in the universe is finite. Think about it. It's like two people stranded on a tiny island with just one bottle of water. It doesn't matter how nice they seem to each other. You've just created a zero-sum game. Suddenly, every other civilization out there is a potential competitor and a future threat.
And this slide, this is where the logic becomes basically inescapable. First, you've got the chain of suspicion. Because light takes years, or even millennia, to travel between stars, you can never, ever trust an alien message. By the time you get a friendly hello, they could have spent all that travel time developing weapons to wipe you out. And second, and this is the really scary part, the technological explosion. Imagine you're a medieval kingdom, and you find a tribe nearby that's still using stone tools. They're farmless, right? But what if in just a couple hundred years they figure out nuclear weapons? That's a technological explosion. You can't judge a civilization by what they are now, only by what they could become. Suddenly, trying to coexist becomes a completely illogical gamble.
Okay, so with that chilling framework in mind, let's turn the camera around and look at ourselves. If the universe is a dark, quiet forest full of paranoid hunters, what have we been doing for the last 100 years or so? The answer isn't just naive. Following this logic, it's potentially suicidal.
For decades, we have been doing the one thing a hunter in a dark forest must never, ever do. We've been making noise. We haven't been hiding, listening carefully. We've been screaming our exact location to every single predator that might be out there stalking the darkness. Let this quote really sink in. Our broadcasts are like a baby crying, attracting wolves. It's a perfect, absolutely horrifying metaphor for what we've done.
Yep. For over a century, our TV shows, our radio signals, our military radar, it's all been leaking out to the cosmos. This has created a bubble of detection, expanding at the speed of light, announcing our exact location, our level of technology, and our complete and total ignorance of the rules of the forest. We've been ringing the cosmic dinner bell for 100 years straight.
And this brings us to a huge, fierce debate happening right now in the scientific community. You've got SETI, which is basically like hiding behind a tree and just listening for footsteps. It's the cautious approach. But then you have METI, and that's the conscious choice to step out into the middle of the clearing and just shout, "Hey, we're over here!" Proponents say, well, it's too late to hide now anyway. But opponents argue that this is gambling with the life of our entire species, a risk that we have absolutely no right to take.
And this slide shows you what we might be inviting. A dark forest strike wouldn't be some dramatic Star Wars. It would be cold, efficient, horrifyingly impersonal. The goal is to eliminate a potential future threat with as little effort as possible, making sure the attacker stays completely hidden. The really chilling part is the lack of malice. It's not seen as an act of evil. It's framed as a simple logical act of cosmic cleanup. You are a potential threat, so you must be removed. That's it. End of story.
Okay, but is this terrifying logic really airtight? I mean, is this the only way the universe can possibly work? Let's pivot for a minute and look at the critiques, because there are some really big scientific and logical challenges to this idea that give us a little glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, the forest isn't quite as dark as it seems.
So first, it's important to remember that the dark forest is just one possible answer, among many. You've got the Great Filter Theory, which suggests that civilizations always hit some wall, like climate change or nuclear war, and they just destroy themselves before they can ever get to the stars. Or the Rare Earth Hypothesis, which just says that a planet like ours is an incredible fluke, and we might be it. The dark forest is so scary because it suggests the universe could be full of life, but it's a life that's been forced into silence by pure fear.
So, what are the biggest holes you can poke in this theory? Well, the non-exclusivity problem is a huge one. Does every single civilization, out of billions, really adopt the exact same paranoid strategy? It only takes one friendly, loud civilization to break the silence for everybody. Others argue the resource assumptions are just wrong. Advanced civilizations could just harness the insane energy of entire stars. And, maybe most importantly, hiding might not even be possible. Which, of course, leads to the biggest question of all. If the hunters are so good at their job, why are we still here?
And this quote from critic Noah Smith really gets to the heart of the problem. The whole metaphor of a forest where you can hide behind trees might be fundamentally wrong. Space is mostly empty. It's transparent. A truly advanced civilization probably wouldn't need to wait for our primitive radio signals. They could just analyze the light from our sun as it passes through our atmosphere and detect the chemicals in it, our biosignature. Basically, they can tell we have life here just by seeing the oxygen we all breathe. And if you can't hide, well then the entire strategic logic of the dark forest starts to fall apart.
So, okay, the theory has flaws. We might be safe, but, and this is a huge but, the reason the dark forest idea continues to haunt people is because the stakes are absolute. Even if there is only a tiny 1% chance that this logic is correct, the consequences of betting wrong are total, complete extinction.
And this, right here, is the final, chilling takeaway. For the forest to be a deadly place, not every hunter needs to be hostile. It only takes one. Just one civilization, somewhere out there, that operates on this predatory logic, forces every other rational civilization to go into hiding just to be safe. The Great Silence, then, isn't the sound of an empty universe. It could be the sound of a universe holding its breath.
Which brings us right back to our survival briefing. We have spent an entire century loudly and naively announcing our existence to the cosmos. And so the final question we have to ask ourselves is this. If there is even one hunter out there listening in the dark, what have we become to them? A curiosity? A potential friend? Or are we just the next name on a cleanup list?